This is just ridiculous. An article comes out highlighting a potential route the Spurs could take during this NBA draft. And I think it's absolutely horrendous, and we're going to break it down here on Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. And if you guys haven't yet, make sure you guys take a spur of the moment to get every Spurs moment by hitting that free subscribe button so you don't miss all the great content we have coming for you daily. But without further ado, let's just get right into it. Spurs can solve every weakness if they shock Dylan Harper fans on draft night. The youth movement doesn't look so bad. Dylan Harper is part of the youth movement, but you know what? We'll get into it. In the ever-evolving scenarios for the San Antonio Spurs, the one that's explored the least is trading down in the draft. Why? Because Dylan Harper is clearly the second best player in this draft, and it's not even up for debate. Cooper's 1, and then you've got Dylan 2, Ace is 3, and then VJ is 4. Those two can switch depending. But while keeping the 14th pick, say the Silver and Black decide not to trade for anyone right now. That's no KD, that's no Giannis, that's no Laurie, that's no Jaylen Brown, no etc. because they're in talks with pretty much everybody because they have all the assets in the world. And believe they stay on the path of the youth movement is the way to go. Even though they know they want Wemby in the playoffs because they want to get as many bites at the apple as possible with this supernova talent that we have. But Spurs can hit a home run by trading out of the Dylan Harper pick. You may be asking yourself, if they're going with young guys, why trade the number 2 pick and skip over Dylan Harper? Well, the answer is simple. The Spurs have a bunch of needs, and if they turn two lottery picks into two lottery picks and an additional mid-rounder, it is more valuable this team than any other summer if they hit on all 3 picks. Their future success might be as well carved in stone. It is extremely hard to say that they're going to hit on all 3 picks. And I'm not saying the Spurs are a bad drafting organization. We know historically they are a great drafting organization. But hitting on 3 picks out of your first 18 is extremely tough. That is extremely tough. If there's an organization that's going to do it, it's going to be a Miami Heat organization or obviously the San Antonio Spurs. But man, oh man, is that tough. The question is, who would you trade back with between Brooklyn or Washington? Brooklyn has the 8th pick in this year's draft, so you're not going to go that far. But Brooklyn has the 8th pick, plus they've also got 3 other first-round picks, including like the 26th and 27th. And then Washington, they have the 6th pick and the 18th pick in this year's draft in the first round. So you trade the number 2 overall selection to Washington for the 6th and the 18th. One, that's not enough value. And then as he says here, could you argue there's other things included in the deal? Sure, but that's not the focus. I'm not pretending to be GM today. Let's figure out that stuff. I want to talk about who the Spurs should take on this hypothetical deal. And yes, it would definitely need to be more. But the thing is, the Wizards don't have much to offer. That's the point with the Wizards. Like, they're not a good team right now. You're not going to take Jordan Poole. You're not going to take Chris Middleton. You could go with Sadiq Bey. He can shoot from the outside. He's a guy who averaged about 13 points last season. I mean, I guess you could try to get Bub Carrington, but that's someone that they're probably going to want to keep for the future, even though they are getting Dylan Harper, so Bub Carrington could be a guy. So you could get that and Bub Carrington. So you'd be getting another kind of prospect guy if you really wanted to go this youthful route. But a future first, it'd have to be 2027 because 2026, Houston and Phoenix and everybody has like rights to their swaps in 2026. The Wizards aren't in a great position draft-wise next season. So it would have to be some weird, like, we got to get future picks along with this to add to the trade. But let's get into these picks. Spurs draft Con with the 5th pick, but he meant the 6th. But the 6th pick in the draft. 5th goes to Utah. They need shooting. Khan's one of the best shooters in the draft. I don't think he will be the best shooter in the draft. I think there are a lot of great shooters. Trey Johnson has the ability to be the best shooter in the draft. There are other players in this draft that could be lethal shooters, truly. But He is a dog on offense, can create out of the pick and roll, score through contact. He's a good passer with plenty of experience, feeding his guys through lobs. He is not the fastest laterally, but a smart defender. He will be where he needs to be. He is a smart defender. He is a good player. I think he's going to be a top 7 pick in this draft, 100%. I've done a couple mock drafts myself of putting it through with the College Sports Network and then Pro Football Network. So I put together a couple mock drafts myself, and I think Khan's going to go around that 5 to 8 range. Absolutely. The thing with him is his lateral quickness is less. So getting a guy like Khan in this situation, you do have the great eraser and the great equalizer with Wemby in the back. So Khan could be somebody who comes in there. He is a smart IQ guy. Even though he is young, he plays with a more veteran presence, a veteran style. He knows how to get to his spots where his spots are, and he knows not to play outside of himself. So that alongside with De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle, that's what we were honestly expecting before, because we didn't think we were going to get up to 2. We thought we were going to get around the 8. So someone like Khan was going to be the guy that we were thinking. So I like this pick a lot. I think Khan could be a nice quality starter in the league with like borderline all-star-ish potential. So I think he could be a really good player in this. I think he can be a really good player in the league and be a great rotational piece or a great starting piece. Kind of, not the same kind of thing, but what Harrison Barnes would do for this roster this year, in the sense of shooter on the outside, not going to get the greatest amount from him defensively, but you're going to get enough defensively to where he's not a total liability. And then offensively, you get a guy who can help stretch the floor and can make a play or two if need be. He would be like that this year. Not that that's his future projection, but this year. And then his versatility and reliability on offense are so elite. If it warrants him to being a high lottery pick selection in a deep draft, if his defense is so bad, people expect him to be a traffic cone, he'd drop a few spots. He'd be manageable at the end. Khan is a home run pick for the Silver and Black at 5, even though it's 6. It's at 6. At 5 is Utah. It's 6. But I don't know if it's a home run. I think Trey Johnson might be more of a home run, because if you're going for the future, Trey Johnson has a much higher upside than Khan does, in my opinion. Not much higher, but he has a higher upside. He is 6'6", he has long arms, he has the tools to be a great two-way player, so he has that, but offensively, he can do everything that Khan does. He doesn't play with the intelligence as of right now. Sometimes he'll over-dribble, but if you put him into a position with the Spurs and he could grow into that, he has the potential to be a top 3 player in this draft. I don't think Khan has the potential to be a top 3 player in this draft with who else is there. So he could be. We obviously don't know, but I don't think he is. And Trey Johnson, if you're going to go off of projection future, I think that Trey Johnson would be the better pick than Khan at this position, especially if you have a future mindset. But that's 1. 2, Thomas Sorber at 14. I like this pick of Thomas Sorber at 14. I think we could go with Thomas Sorber at 14 possibly. Anyway, there are many different parts we could go. We could go Carter Bryant if he's possibly there. We could go with Cedric Coward. Coward. We could go there from Washington State. We could go Noah Esange. That name I always butcher. We could go there if we wanted to go a more youthful route. We could go even someone if we wanted to reach for him. Danny Wolf, he could be around that. Like, there's so many pieces and places we could go. Just depends on where the Spurs organization's mindset is. Do we want to get more wings to kind of mimic what the Pacers and the Thunder are doing right now, where you can get 8, 9 versatile wings who can play offensively on the outside, plus you have your supernova? Or do you want to go with a more traditional style, having some 2 bigs and things of that nature? Just depends. Thomas Sorber would be a great addition as Zach Collins is gone. Charles Bassey hasn't stayed healthy. Mamu, he can shoot, bigger body, but Sorber could be the guy inside, but he also can stretch the floor a bit too. So Sorber would be a very good pick at this spot. He has great size, long arms, great motor, solid shooting, can translate to the NBA. I think he's going to be a quality kind of player. You could see him being differentish kind of version of like a Bobby Portis, where he could stretch the floor, he can play defense, but he can rebound. He could be that kind of guy for you. And Bobby Portis is obviously in free agency. That's someone we could just go acquire ourselves to get that guy specifically. But also you could get a Thomas Sorber, so you don't have to pay that financial price to get a guy who could mimic what Bobby Portis could do. And then the third one, is doubling down with Carter Bryant at the 18th pick. So here's also where my issue lies with this and thinking it's ridiculous. I don't think Carter Bryant's going to be there at 18. I think he could definitely be late lottery. I mean, there is a chance because we don't know how this draft is going to go. So it's very difficult to where these teams are going to go, but he's been projected as high as 8. I think he goes 10 to the Houston Rockets. They're a team that they're another team that loves their wings. We saw them this year against Golden State when you had Tari Eason, you have Amen Thompson, you've got Dylan Brooks, you have these players. You can plug and play Carter Bryant in there, a guy who can stretch the floor. He actually can shoot. That is something they were missing this year. They got it from Jabari Smith Jr. a bit, but they were missing it. I think that he's just going to be taken at 10. I don't even think we're going to have the option for this. There are other players. This draft is incredibly deep with a lot of talent. So there are other players that could be taken here. You could take someone like maybe Nick Clifford if he gets past Orlando at 16. You could get Cedric Coward here depending on who you take at 14, and if he's taken, you could get a guy like Will Riley, another guy who is a longer athlete who can stretch the floor and has the potential to be another 3-and-D guy, Asa Newell, Rasheer Fleming. There are players that you could take at this spot. I don't even think that Carter Bryant is going to possibly be here. He is definitely getting more and more pushes for being in the lottery. He might be the guy that you'd have to take at 14. So he definitely has upside and talent, but the thing with the Carter Bryant is I just don't know if he's going to be there. And with a move like this, there are so many hypotheticals and what-ifs. So what if this guy's taken? What if this guy's taken? What if this guy's taken? What if you don't know? And that's the thing about having the number 2 pick. We know Cooper's going 1, so we know Dylan Harper's there at 2. And Dylan Harper, a guy who is 6'6", he can shoot from the outside, a very good spot-up shooter, especially something that's been overlooked in his game. You've then got a guy who can put the ball on the ground, get to the basket, can facilitate for his teammates, but also can play off ball. Defensively, he does try, he does work, he can slide laterally. The potential and the view of him at peak is looking like what Cade Cunningham looked like this year. A guy who can score 26 a game. Obviously, on this team, it wouldn't be the same because you have so many star pieces alongside of him. But a guy, if he had his team, could score 26 a game, could get you 7 to 8 assists, plays good defense, can take good shots, doesn't play outside of himself, and controls the pace of the game. That's Dylan Harper. And if you're going to give up a guy like that, you need to get something great in return. Not a bunch of what-ifs. We don't need all that much depth. The depth of the San Antonio Spurs, we need a couple pieces. We can get that in free agency. We've got 7 deep right now that are legitimately NBA players that can play in any rotation at 7 deep. And that is Wemby, that's Jeremy Sochan, that's Devin Vassell, that's Stephon Castle, that's De'Aaron Fox, that's Harrison Barnes, and that is Keldon Johnson. And I didn't even have to mention a couple of the other guys on the roster that could get run. Obviously, it depends on what we do with CP3 if he does come back. Players like Blake Wesley can actually play in a rotation if need be. He probably is on his way out because we have the guard depth. But doing all of that is just unnecessary when you could draft Dylan Harper, have him, and then trade off Devin Vassell to get the last couple pieces. That's all you need to do. Or if you're going to do that, and you're going to go trade, you don't even need to trade the second pick. Keep the second, you have the 14th, trade Devin Vassell and go get one of those 18th picks in the draft. I'm pretty positive Devin Vassell would be right now the second best Wizard, or the best even Wizard you could argue, on that roster. Obviously, moving forward, you hope Alex Sarr is going to take that next leap, but if you were to trade that, Devin Vassell is going to be a very good player and continue to be a very good player in the league. You don't even need to do that. Just trade Devin Vassell off for another pick. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about this hypothetical trade. If you would trade the second pick for multiple picks to try to get down with more young talent, or do you think that just taking Dylan Harper's all the young talent we need and we have the pieces to trade for something else like I do? But this has been Spurs Digest with your host, Keenan Warner. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll be seeing all of you guys very soon.